널 기다렸어.
Welcome, everybody, to the StarCraft 2 Star League Season 2 of 2016. I am Valdez. With me is Wolf today. We got a lot of StarCraft coming to you guys today.
Yeah, probably about 30 games. And,
about 30 games.
It could be a little bit less, could be a few more. Very low chance of being more, but it is possible for there to be ties. If you guys have followed since the up and down matches of the GSL like 4 years ago, then you've probably seen some of these circumstances occur. But we have a 6-person group. The person who comes out in with the most wins will just be seeded out of the group in first. The second place one usually is a little bit harder to determine. And then that player will come out as well. And basically it's just going to be top 3 coming out of the group at the end of all things. Why am I even trying to explain this? It's 6 people in the group, 3 people get out.
I'm just letting you run with it.
Wins,
go ahead.
Wins are obviously the number one priority. Wins on away maps are obviously what breaks ties. And then the third tiebreaker is warnings. But if there are any ties beyond that where it's like, okay, they're both, say, 8-8 or something, and this is just a totally made-up stat. 8-8 with both of them have 2 wins on away maps. And they both have a warning, or they both have no warnings, then like a tiebreaker sort of situation can occur. But usually it's going to be between 3 people, not 2, just because that's how round robins work.
And what we had the first time last Thursday was we actually finished 5 games early or 4 games early just because the results were already in. 2 players were definitely out. Sue had a chance to get in and force a tiebreaker, but he had to win 3 in a row. But he lost his first one. So we had our top 3, and from there it was totally fine. So I'm expecting something similar here, especially just looking at the players who are here. I feel like there are 3 big favorites, maybe a 4th guy that's like kind of vying for position.
Yeah,
but the other 2 are kind of, haven't been doing so well recently.
Let's take a look at these players. I'd say the clear favorites in this group are Classic and SOS. The rest of the 4, I'd say Gumiho's number 3. But, Hurricane, Curious, and Trust, these are the players that might be able to knock Gumiho out of the top 3 if they really bring it today. But we'll see. I mean, Hurricane, not the best results in recent times. Trust, when was the last time we've even seen him play? And Curious has had like the worst year he's ever had. Yeah,
and the funny thing is that I feel like if there's one player to vie for that 3rd place spot, it would probably be Curious over Gumiho, just because Gumiho's TVP is quite strong. It always has been. You always go back to that game where he defeated Zest after the booth fell on him.
Yeah.
When Zest was doing quite well and Gumiho was, kind of just doing Gumiho things. So kind of expecting Gumiho to do really well, especially because there are 4 Protosses in his group. But we'll see if Curious can try to come back here and give himself a chance to make it in.
That's right. Looking at the other groups, obviously Group C is going to be great. Beyond the only teamless player in this tournament, and then Group D is considered the group of death with Maru and Zest in it. So a lot of great Star League action coming at you guys every Thursday. Before we get into the real season, this is just simply the challenge part of the Star League, which is what it's called here, which is why, these players are going to get eliminated. For some of these players who are not qualified for GSL Code S or have been knocked out of Code A, whichever way you want to put it, some of them haven't played their Code A matches yet, but if you're out of that tournament and you fall out here, there's no more StarCraft for you to participate Star League-wise until 2017, so 6+ months away.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think that the 2nd season of Korea is in June, and some players are already out of both. They haven't qualified for SSL, they're already out of GSL, or they didn't qualify and they're just sitting back. They're like I guess I'm just going to play Pro League.
That's
pretty much all he's got, right? Which is kind of scary for some of these players, to be honest.
It really is, and it's just somewhat of a what's the product of a new system that we have here with only 2 seasons this year. And obviously the focus is on BlizzCon for most of these players. And so not only do they lose their first chance, the first part of the year, they lose the second chance. They're definitely not going to BlizzCon, but there's nothing left to play. So it's very important is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, here is Gumiho on somewhat of a tear recently. In the qualifier beat Bravo, Trust, Billy, not that big of a deal. But I'd say, his recent results in the WCA tournament, as well as him in Pro League, playing better than most of his teammates. I'd say he's looking in pretty good form here in 2016.
Well, he's going to be going up against Classic, who I'm sure he is no stranger to you guys. Very successful player. Did win Code S Season 2 in 2014. Also won SSL Season 2 in 2015. So he's been doing quite well. You could see that he actually lost to Curious 0-2 in the qualifiers. That's a really big result, actually.
That's right. Taking out two basically amateurs in Apocalypse and Eagle before that, and one of the only players to have ever won a GSL and a Star League. So he's a big favorite to get out of this group. I'd say he should get out in first place. He had some rockiness with his PVZ a long time ago, but I think he's really settled that. He lost to Curious, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be jumping into game number 1 pretty quickly here. We got 30 of these today, guys, so make sure you get your friends in the stream. Let's jump into game number 1 right now on Dusk Towers. Here we are on Dusk Towers, one of the most popular maps that we had from the first day. But up here in the top right in the red, the Terran player, the only one in the group, it is Gumiho.
And his opponent to the bottom in blue, it is Classic. The SKT Protoss. A Star League winner on both facets, GSL and SSL. And as we go into this first map, Dusk Towers was by far the most popular map last group, and looking at the map list, it looks to be the same. We do have a few new maps in this pool, Ruins of Endion, Invader, Frozen Temple.
And Frozen Temple is actually going to be played a lot more this time around than we did see in the first day. I think it gets played a total of 6 times. But yeah, again, Dusk Towers is the most popular map. I think it's got about 10, 11 maps here.
And Arena will be played in set 18 between Gumiho and Curious. The only time it will be played today. It was not played last week at all, if I remember correctly. So a rarer map here. Pro gamers don't like it. I love it. I know Tasis is a big fan. I like that map a lot, just because it produces really unique games. We do see another early probe scout here. Not as early as some of the scouts we saw last week that were basically insanely fast, almost right after the pylon.
And look at this. I mean, he's going for gas first, Gumiho is, and Classic is going to scout that out by the timing here. And just going to use that to get a Reaper out and probably go straight into a factory and tech up here while getting that command center in the back door.
Yeah, Probe wanted to stay around and confirm. Obviously, it is going to be a factory. There's not much else to know. It's not like he's going to make another barracks and be like, well, I can get really fast stim now. But Probe gets warded away by this Reaper, which will pop out right now. And back at home, it was a Gate Nexus core. Starting the Zealot initially here, which is a safety thing. He might cancel. He might just be getting it because he's worried there could be a second barracks proxy, and it could be like double Reaper. Gumiho's been known to do things like that, so probably going to cancel that safety Zealot as soon as he sees that the coast is clear. And yep, he does, changing it to an Adept.
Better to be safe than sorry, as they do say, especially when you feel like you are the favorite player. I feel like if Classic is not going to get out in number 1, it's going to be SOS. SOS has shown a tendency to all kill in Pro League formats against really tough players, and that's 4 best of 1s in a row. So
yeah,
if he can do that against KT, I mean, he can do it here against the lineup that we got today.
I feel like better safe than sorry is like, probably for the SKT pro gamers, sorry, a thing he doesn't like to hear too often. It's like the SKT coach is like, well, who do we send out here? Sorry is like, oh, I'll play. And he's like, let's just send out innovation. Better safe than sorry.
It would be even worse if there was a player named Safe. Like, oh, let's do Safe instead. It's better safe than sorry.
There probably will be one day, man. StarCraft 3, like, there's only a few adjectives out there like that we haven't used yet for pro gamer names.
That's true. Surprised we haven't seen it yet, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, there's, for example, the European player Happy just retired today, so it happens in Europe as well. There was a StarCraft 2 player in Korea called Happy. He was on IM for a long time. We've got so many adjectives. But
we got the best adjectives, Wolves. We got so many of those adjectives.
We got so many adjectives here. It's going to be a long day. Double Widowmine drop is headed towards Classic's base as he is switching into Liberators back at home and Bio, although he makes a siege tank, presumably for safety. And we'll see if this Widowmine drop finds damage. The first observer is about to pop out. He's taken a third base, which will get scouted by that drop ship.
It's going to be interesting to see if this really is for safety or if he does want to send a push across the map. There is no third CC. Here we go with the drop. The Stalkers are in position, so Gumiho chooses to not even drop out here. And here's the follow-up with the Liberator and the Marines walking across the map. No upgrades for the Marines just yet. I think it's just a reactor on that one barracks right now, just trying to pump out as many Marines as possible with the tech lab actually on the factory.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of pressure here. I don't think, he's going to keep that for any, much longer. The stim will come out as soon as that tech lab finishes. Like, he's not going to be just going pure Marines, hoping to end the game off with like a few tanks with it. But again, this is an aggressive move that's basically forced by that third Nexus. This Liberator will get taken out, I'd say. Yep, just barely there.
Kills 2 Stalkers, though, and that's going to make this push a lot stronger. He's going to be able to get that tank in a great position, and he may even be able to cancel that Nexus, especially because there's no pylon down here for overcharges.
Yeah, I don't think he can hold this. He's going to warp in 3 Stalkers onto the low ground. The tank is being targeted by that Immortal. Barrier goes down, but he's just going to ignore it, going forward onto these Stalkers, but Blink finishes.
Oh boy, this is held with flying colors. A nice drop coming into the back door, and it looks like the Widowmines will be procced, but Classic holds it, and that's the most important thing here. The CC for Gumiho, not even done. And Classic already has his Nexus up with a nice amount of tech already.
He needs to clean these Widowmines, though. He looks oblivious at this moment in time. Okay, here we go. Here comes that second Stalker, third Stalker, Adept coming in to join as well. But if he had done a little bit more damage to that probe line instead of killing Stalkers, I think that would have been worth it. But now he's, as you said, his third base is late. His stim is also so late that there's not much he can do to pressure for a follow-up. He lost a lot of his Marines. And Classic is winning in every way right now. +1 is on the way for Gumiho. He's adding more tanks and 3 more barracks, almost like he wants to do just a follow-up all-in instead of trying to go for the late game. But it's going to be a tough one, and Classic is already with the counter-aggression here. 1 Immortal and 2 Adepts on the way to that third base.
Yeah, and the bunker having to go down here for Gumiho. He knows the potential. He saw the blink. Robotics Bay as the follow-up. I think we saw some Colossus play yesterday out of Myungshik, actually, in Code A up against Jokji. So maybe we'll see some of that here. He could be going for Disruptors too, but they haven't had much success against Terran here in Korea, so probably going to be those Colossi.
Well, Stalkers come up here to poke, will blink away. Not much damage done. I think that was a cancel. I'm not entirely sure what that was there. But we do see the Immortals, or the Immortal, and this Adept coming here into the back of the mineral line. 1 Viking coming over will actually shut this down, and a good pickup on the tank to save it. Barrier goes up. He's going to have to pick up and away, but he's not going to be able to save this. He drops the Immortal. Meanwhile, a Blanket in the main.
Oh boy, he's trying to out-multitask Gumiho here. A hard thing to do, but he's doing it well. Gumiho doesn't have all of his units in position to stop this. Almost focuses down that medevac. He gets the medevac, and he's just going to blink out here without taking much losses. Also kills 14 SCVs in the process.
Yeah, and Vikings were killed there as well, and this Colossus switch is not something that Gumiho necessarily expects. Obviously, it's becoming more of a meta thing right now, and I do like this because, I mean, it was just a matter of time before people realized that Colossi were still good in Legacy of the Void, despite their nerfs. But, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, he's going pure Marine with some Siege tank support, with all the Blink Stalkers that are here to help deal with the tanks, as well as the Colossi at the back, and no combat shields on these Marines anytime soon. This is going to be a hard fight for Gumi to take until he does get more Vikings up, or I guess maybe if he tries to hit this timing right now before the process, enough support for the Stalkers.
I mean, he's got 1 Colossus, so I suppose hitting now before he has too many. Again, I don't think he expects it. Trying to come in here and snipe a tank, and he does get it. Gets the tank and the medevac.
Going to get a few Marines here, but may lose a second Stalker on his way out. Colossus range is nearly done with that second one. This Nexus had to be canceled. The pylon will go down, but it's going to buy him a little bit more time. He already has +1 armor to counter the +1 attack of Gumiho. He's got a few sentries here to buy time and a fake Colossus as well. It's a Colossus with the skin too, Valdez. It's a cool skin. That's the Legacy of the Void skin, or the Collector's Edition skin, I believe.
Yeah, man. That's a real Colossus. Looks like it could be a fake one.
I thought it was a fake one, man. I'm like, I'm not even sure. I'm not even used to this.
Are those reals? Are those real Colossi? But yeah, they are real.
I've never even seen this in a real game. I didn't even think that was allowed to use skins, but
maybe he'll get a warning. I don't think it's gonna matter though, because Classic probably the favorite to get out of this group in first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
the warning won't affect much.
They'll probably just change it in the next game, or either that, or I guess I'm just wrong and these are allowed. I thought it was a hallucination at first. That was really throwing me off.
Scan gonna go down here, and Gumiho was thinking about it, but now with 2 Colossi out, a third one about to finish too.
I don't think he can attack this, but he does have, it's 3 base to 3. The problem is that his lack of Vikings is somewhat of a problem. He has a good split. It's going to be hard for Classic to engage us. I think if he's going to play this game, he should take a 4th base. You know what I mean? Like, just sitting here, accomplishing nothing. And here comes Classic's attack. He is just going to fight into this.
Yeah, look at that really nice concave for Gumiho, but the Colossi are doing so much damage to this mainly Marine army, and this Terran army is going to just be picked to pieces here.
Correct, man. There's nothing to deal with those Colossi, even though he targeted the siege tanks on them and had the perfect concave. GG.
GG. Classic takes game number 1. There you go. Gumiho going for a push. Didn't work. Did not shut down the 3rd base of Classic. He tried to set up a soft contain there, but a really nice transition by Classic to go into those Colossi. So taking game number 1 now is Classic. Gumiho going to take a loss. And we're just marking down on our little sheets. We got like our win-loss score here with the away wins. That was Classic's actually away map, so he gets an away win there.